In ancient Egypt, the Israelites languished under the oppressive rule of Pharaoh, forced into hard labor and subjected to cruelty despite their cries for freedom. Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, refusing to let the Israelites go. Then the time came for God to unleash his divine power and deliver his people from bondage through a series of extraordinary events known as the 10 plagues. The first plague, water turned to blood. God instructed Moses to stretch out his staff over the waters of the Nile, turning them into blood. The once life-giving river became a river of death with fish dying and the water undrinkable. The second plague, frogs. Next, swarms of frogs infested Egypt, covering every inch of land, invading homes and even beds. The Egyptians were overwhelmed by the incessant croaking and the foul stench of decay. The third plague, gnats or lice, infested the land, tormenting both humans and animals. The Egyptians were unable to find relief, as the tiny pest seemed to be everywhere. The fourth plague, flies, plagued Egypt, swarming into houses and fields, causing destruction and spreading disease. The once prosperous land was now overrun with pestilence and suffering. The fifth plague, livestock, essential for sustenance and labor, fell victim to a deadly disease, crippling Egypt's agricultural economy and leaving the people destitute. The sixth plague, boils. Painful boils broke out on the skin of the Egyptians, causing excruciating agony and rendering them unclean. Even the magicians, who had once defied Moses, were afflicted and unable to stand before him. The seventh plague, hail. God sent a devastating hailstorm upon Egypt, accompanied by thunder and lightning. Hailstones, larger than any seen before, pummeled the land, destroying crops, trees, and buildings. The eighth plague, swarming locusts, descended upon Egypt, devouring every green plant in their path. The once fertile fields were reduced to barren wasteland, exacerbating the famine and despair. The ninth plague, a thick darkness blanketed Egypt, so dense that it could be felt the sun was obscured, and the people were plunged into a terrifying abyss, unable to see or move about. The 10th plague, death of the firstborn and the final, most devastating plague, God passed through the land of Egypt, striking down every firstborn son. From the Pharaoh's palace to the lowliest servant's hut, the Israelites, however, were spared by marking their doorposts with the blood of a sacrificial lamb, a symbol of their faith and obedience. Overwhelmed by grief and terror, Pharaoh finally relented, releasing the Israelites from bondage. The 10 plagues served as a demonstration of God's power and justice, as well as his unwavering commitment to deliver his people from oppression and lead them to freedom